That apology for that. The government officials in Canada have received the CRJ, the two CRJ 900 aircrafts that are coming here to start the Uganda Airlines. Our team is in Canada, and it's one of the stories that we're giving you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukoma, with Mugalu Muhammad, I beg your pardon, on the sign language part. Let's have a look. Government and NGOs cautioned on refugee funds. Egypt and Uganda sign MOU to strengthen cooperation in military field. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris catches fire, while the Cubs come back strongly against Tanzania this Wednesday. Our second edition of News Tonight. Welcome once again. The Japanese ambassador to Uganda, Kazuaki Kameda, has advised government to punish persons who mismanage funds meant for refugees. This was announced in an offer of 27 billion shillings to support refugees and host communities in Uganda. We have details in this report.
Uganda hosts over 1.2 million refugees, ranking it third among refugee hosting countries globally. But in 2018, audit report implicated officials from Office of the Prime Minister in corruption over funds meant for refugees.
Investigations on the alleged cases shall be carried out in cooperation with its relevant UN agencies. Punitive actions shall be taken against those who have been implicated in substantiated cases.
While giving another 27 billion shillings to help refugees and their host communities in Uganda, Japanese ambassador to Uganda warned the government and non-government organizations against corruption.
The government of Japan, of course, like other development partners, believes that contributions for the refugees' assistance in Uganda should not be misused in any way, and strongly requests that effective preventive measure will be put in place.
The Minister for Refugees and Disaster Preparedness, Hilary Onek, promised transparency in handling money meant for refugees.
We have taken actions against those who are alleged to be diverting refugee resources, and we are not going to step back. We are still weeding out a few that are hibernating within our system. There is no question about really allowing theft of aid that are meant for the people who are disenfranchised from their countries, people are facing problems.
The Japanese support, which has already been channeled to non-government organizations, will be used to enhance the livelihoods of refugees and to build health centers, schools and roads.
The large number of refugees in West Nile is undoubtedly placing an enormous strain on host communities. Uganda's hospitality, its willingness to give refuge to over 1.2 million people, more than any other country in Africa, deserves more than platitudes. Therefore, we welcome support from countries joining hands in solidarity with Uganda.
Philip Aguta reporting.
Ministry of Works and Transport officials who are in Canada have received 2 of the 4 CRJ 900 aircraft that are to be brought here to Uganda to open up the Uganda Airlines. We have a story from that side, but in a few seconds we shall be giving it to you. Just keep watching News Tonight. Cabinet has accepted the proposal to amend the Foreign Exchange Act of 2004. According to government spokesperson Ofono Pondo, the amendment ensures that the new act matches the changing trends in the business.
Your permission? Are there any? As you may appreciate, it's now 15 or 16 years since the Forex Bureau law was enacted, and many developments have come underway along the way, especially technological, communication, but also the world of how money is supposed to be flowing. Therefore, Cabinet yesterday approved the amendments which will now go to Parliament, the objectives of which are: 1, to strengthen provisions in the existing law that are considered inadequate in the execution of the Bank of Uganda's mandate with regard to supervision of forex bureaus and money remittances. 2, to make regulatory provisions for new business trends and technological development that were not provided for. 3, ensure effective implementation of new legislation such as the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2013.
Members of Parliament on the Committee of ICT have expressed need for government to allocate additional funds to the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, for the ongoing revamp process. The committee members observed that government funds allocated to UBC last financial year were sufficient to complete the revamp process.
Toroma legislator Anya Kecho, chairing the Committee on ICT, has resolved to mobilize additional resources for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation to conclude the revamp process. During an interface with UBC officials, committee members noted that there was insufficient funding for UBC to fulfill its mandate as a public broadcaster.
The issue of obsolete equipment in UBC still falls under the same issue of revamp. It is this balance that the management is explaining to the committee that is supposed to be used to buy brand new equipment which is up to date, because most of the equipments are obsolete.
MPs commended the initiative by ICT Permanent Secretary on the proposed media buying initiative, where 40% of government adverts will be channeled to UBC.
At the planning level, government should make sure that they are providing even indicative planning figures. We were amazed that this is not happening. The Ministry of Finance has not given them empty figures, indicative planning. They are not. They have been abandoned.
Those people are key government institutions that are normally using the national broadcaster. But look at the money they're putting there. They're putting the institution is there. It's like they are not even minding about where this institution is and where this institution is going.
The Permanent Secretary, Vincent Bajire, confirmed to the committee that they will promote the element of national guidance.
If a television, if you bought on bulk, a television can give you 20 minutes as opposed to 15. So we are trying to get a dividend out of the money that we spend to buy media. So that's the reason government is consolidating the advertising spend within the ministries, departments and agencies.
The Managing Director, UBC Winston Agaba, pledged effective implementation of all set strategies, including responding to statutory obligations.
The last financial year, money had been allocated to the revamp, but not all the money was released by Ministry of Finance, especially, of course, as they were trying to prioritize. We are very optimistic that the next coming year, next financial year, 2019-2020, we should be able to get some extra funding from government, because there are so many activities that have to be looked into, not only just improving the technical aspects of UBC, but also making sure that we can pay the statutory payments of people who have left UBC.
Story filed by Susan Nawonga for UBC News.
Yes, just a correction. The members of the committee observed that the funds that were released last year were insufficient for the complete of the revamp process. Relatedly, management of Muni University in Arua district have called on government also to increase the university funding from 4.5 billion shillings for effective running of the institution. The University Vice-Chancellor, Professor Christine Dranzoa, and her team were also appearing before the Education Committee of Parliament in Kampala.
We do not know what they will react, how they will react.
Originally, we were getting 3.4 billion, and so our non-NTR, which we are raising, is about 480 million. That brings it to 3.8 billion. It still doesn't fit, because even as I talk now, we are incurring arrears. The emolument of my staff have not been paid. It affects motivation.
We have a funding gap which is affecting our operations, and we have been putting to the committee members to consider doing something about it. For example, we do not have enough teaching staff, and this has to do with the wage bill, which is inadequate. We would need to recruit more high-profile staff in the academics, but we are constrained due to the cap we have on the wage bill. This year we have a wage bill of 9.2 billion, but still this is inadequate if we have to have the caliber of the staff that we would require as a university. We need the professors, we need the associate professors, we need the senior lecturers, and all these require additional funding if we were to do this.
We are really appealing for government to increase our non-wage so that we are able to operate, we are able to even monitor, because the funds that supports governance, let's say council members meeting, travels, refund of their travels, even staff emolument comes from there. So if it is not supported, we are asking for 1.6 billion additional. We've been appealing to everybody, including our ministry, including finance. We've been putting our appeals, and now we are presenting it to the committee for that to be considered.
And I think we will try as far as we can reach. So you are still welcome to continue with us.
That was Muni University before the Education Committee of Parliament, pleading for more funding to run the institution. Now, like I broke the good news at the start of the bulletin, that we have received 2 of the CRJ 900 aircrafts that are coming to Uganda very soon to boost and start the new Uganda Airlines phase. Here we are with the full ceremony. Jackson Onyango and Sam Sendono are in Canada.
Welcome a new operator and to start a new relationship. We are deeply appreciative that the Uganda government chose our aircraft for the revival of its national flag carrier. And today we are here for the first delivery of their first aircraft. What a journey it has been, and now a new one begins. We designed the CRJ 900 for excellent cost efficiency and network flexibility, and are confident that the CRJ 900 will contribute to Uganda Airlines' growth and success.
20 years ago, Uganda's national carrier, Uganda Airlines, wound up its operations. The thinking then was that foreign airlines would fill the gap and provide the critical air services. However, the government has realized that foreign airlines are not fully dependable and has therefore cautiously but decided to revive the national airline. I would like to profoundly thank Bombardier for fulfilling its obligations and for organizing this very colorful and historic event. I thank all of you for coming to celebrate and be part of this historical event. And above all, I thank God for bringing us this far. Thank you.
What an excitement moment. So if there are members of the Bombardier team who would like to gather around so we can take a group picture after everybody is done here. We're done? Okay, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all once again for joining me and my guest as we went through the ceremony. There are a few house pieces information that we need to do before they start the CRJ facility tour. But for now, if they want to take some pictures inside of the aircraft, they are welcome to go on board.
Beautiful, beautiful. Congratulations, Mother Uganda. We have now seen how the revival of the Uganda Airlines has started with the reception of two planes, and they will touch base, I think, on Saturday. We can't wait to have them. That was on behalf of Uganda. It was the Honorable Azuba Ntege Monica, Minister for Works and Transport, and the official from Bombardier. They were in Canada to receive the planes. UBC was represented by Samuel Senono and Jackson Onyango. They were responsible for the story you have watched, and I'm sure they're working on a bigger one. Congratulations, Uganda, once again. To continue with news tonight, joint teams from Egypt and Uganda have signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen cooperation in the field of military. At a meeting held at the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs in Buya, Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs Adolf Mwesige signed on behalf of the Ugandan government, while the Assistant Minister of Defense, Honorable Major General Ahmad Mohamed Abdulaziz Helmi, signed on behalf of the Egyptian government. Minister Adolf Mwesige commended the Egyptian government for sustaining the relationship between Uganda and Egypt and the cooperation in military training, health and welfare programs. He also said that both countries have a common interest in protecting the source of the river Nile, since the lives and the future of the people in Uganda and Egypt are hinged on it. Honorable Mwesije also noted that the recent visit by the Minister of State for Defense in charge of Veteran Affairs, Lieutenant Colonel retired Bright Ramirama, to the Department of Veteran Affairs in Egypt Armed Forces to map out a strategy to support UPDF veterans was fruitful. Honorable Emasri said that the signing of the MOU will enhance the relationship between the two countries in the field of military cooperation. He appreciated Uganda's efforts towards deepening this military cooperation, since both countries have common goals and promise to implement all the articles in the MOU. Justice Catherine Mamgemede's Commission of Inquiry into Land Matters has downplayed investor Abid Alam's character over land. It follows a report represented to the Commission by Kasanda police officers accusing Abid Alam of displacing Ugandans off land to set up a sugarcane plantation.
The land inquiry has had evidence from Kasanda police officers pinning Abid Alam, an investor, for torturing and displacing Ugandans. The acting district police commander, Ogelan Daniel Robert, told commissioners Abid Alam has hired private security to displace people off their land and create security instability in the area.
Zirimenya Hakim and others.
Who's he?
This is the security manager of Abid Alam.
Why haven't you arrested him?
He is still at large.
Is he not within the farm?
He is within the farm, but efforts to arrest him have proved futile.
Why?
The same accused person.
Why? Hakim is everywhere like a bad rush. Why have you not arrested him?
Abid Alam's actions have prompted landowners Apollo Semanda, Jacob Odong and Kwitonda to hire a detailed security group for protection.
He has machinery, he has armed men. He is capable of sprawling. So there is more need for containment on both sides, that the Banja owners don't assume what is not theirs, but also that the ones who have machinery and ability to be coercive do not also get out of their way to harm the other people.
Tenants have been barred from carrying out any agriculture activities, and Abid's men guard caterpillars are waiting to displace tenants.
We need to inform the investor that sugarcane will keep getting cut because of lack of a social license. If people don't buy what you're giving, they don't own this process, even if it is your individual thing. And God forbid, we're not saying that people should go and ban, but I'm saying there's that lack of ownership. You see, a community is supposed to own this thing and say, this is ours. We protect it. This is our man. It's bringing us investment here. We should all line up and actually get children to become managers and workers and whatever. If that is lacking, you will have violence, you will have acts of criminality, you will have social disorder and, disruption. But we need to be able to help this community resettle.
Ogelan explained to the commission how Dr. Jacob Odong's family was attacked by Alam's boys.
We went to the house of Masaija. We met one of his sons, identified as Kato Erifans. He is a male adult, 36 years old, a Munyankolo by tribe, and a peasant of Kanamukwiri village in Naltuntu, Kasanda district. He said, while working in his father's Kibanja, where they cultivate maize and rear goats and sheep, cattle, one day, I think it was last week, he saw Mr. Abidi's tractor operator driving the tractor towards the Abibanja, where it graded their crops such as potatoes, cassava, and where he was preparing to plant maize. That when he inquired why he was doing so, the tractor operator replied that he was following his boss' instructions.
Earlier, Abid Alam appeared before the commission to answer eviction queries on torture in Mubende and Jinja, but has ignored the recommendations. So that Kai, UBC.
State Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has underscored the communication skills as key in advancing decision-making and improving service delivery. He was closing a writing and communication skills for ministries session for ministries staff. He outlined the core mandate of the ministry, especially formulating policies that enhance economic stability and development. The training covered different ministry staff, including economists, accountants, and auditors. He noted that well-trained and efficient staff will support the ministry to achieve strategic objectives besides matching global trends.
The ministry requires competent human resource in communication skills to engage various stakeholders to deliver on this mandate. One of the issues that we are always support concern as top managers in this ministry is that we do quite a lot, but there seems to be no communication. People do not know what we are doing. The message is lost. We get bashing from the public, we get bashing from cabinet, we get bashing from everywhere. And we take the hit, yes, we are the first line of defense in this ministry. So, really effective communication.
The International Youth Fellowship has launched a mindset change education training system at Kauga prisons in Mukono district. The Director Education at the International Youth Fellowship in South Korea, Yong-So Yoon, says that inmates need mindset training to adjust to life after prison. In 2016, Korea signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Education to incorporate mindset education focusing at individual mindsets into the Ugandan education system. A similar program will be launched at Kigo prisons.
But today, if God say to you, let there be the light, if power comes from the God, this power will save you from the power of darkness, power of confusion, power of the void. God will save you from the sin. You save the new creator. They need the power to overcome this darkness. So that's the reason why these people gave up. Most of them gave up to be changed. But we want to give them the hope, not by them, but by this mind education. Through this power in mind, they can be changed. Then when they are changed, this effect is will be maximum in this society. Many people will have the hope. Also, more people will receive this mind education. That's the reason why we chose these prisoners. Mind education,
Bylaws set by residents of Iua village towards stopping open defecation in Moyo district seem to be yielding results. At least 100% of the homesteads in the village have constructed pit latrines and a hand-washing facility around. As Ivan Kahwa reports, residents there appreciate Ministry of Health support and advocacy against open defecation.
Moyo is one of the districts enrolled under the Uganda Sanitation Fund program that gears at ensuring the district is declared open defecation free. The area is characterized by some shameless people who find solace in defecating in the open. Even with the presence of toilets, the nearby bush would be an option for convenience. A close tour to the area shows that at least every homestead has a toilet and a hand-washing facility. This has maintained hygiene among the residents who testify of reduced communicable diseases.
So we are headed to the borehole that was constructed to help the people of Moyo district. And this is a borehole intended to ensure that they maintain the sanitation program that is currently ongoing. However, in the period up to December, they expect that this place will be declared an open free defecation zone.
It has helped us in this village because all the time we can't go in the health center because of diarrhea disease.
The hand washing facility that we have installed in our latrines are the ones that you step on, you don't touch. And the reason is to avoid contaminating the hand washing facility for the next person.
Signposts are erected in the bushes to warn those who may in any way attempt to seek convenience in areas that are not allowed.
And from their experiences, they have realized that visitors are the ones that are defecating in the open. So they have put that for somebody who does not know Madi, but who knows how to read, can read and understand. But the version of Madi, they will also put it.
And this is a signpost welcoming me to Iyuya village. The residents here came up with some of the bylaws that anyone needs to respect. This pictorial shows that no one is allowed to defecate in an open place. This second pictorial shows that no one is allowed to defecate in the bush. The last pictorial is a recommended toilet that anyone has to use. However, if you do not conform with these rules that were set by the community, you are liable to pay a fine.
If you defecate out, right now every community member is vigilant. So once they get you defecating out, you pay a fine of 10,000.
Outside, like in the road, when they got you, they will punish you. After there, you'll give us 70,000. The fine is 50. 20 is for public.
That 50,000 goes to the village account for sanitation. And then also one of the penalty is they give you strokes of 15 strokes. But they don't know your health status. So each stroke you pay 1,000. That is a total of 15,000. Now people who sit to handle your issue, you pay them 15,000. So it comes to a total of about 95,000 that you pay in total. But remember, the 10,000 goes to that person who got used defecating outside.
The open defecation activity is high along highways, and this is a concern towards sustaining a free open defecation environment.
That habit must stop. People should utilize the available opportunities. Go to petrol stations. I'm sure there are various petrol stations all over the country that have sanitary facilities. So I encourage all bus operators or taxi operators or transport operators for that matter to utilize those services instead of taking people to open places like bushes. So first of all, it's dangerous to the lives of the people. Anything can happen. You can get injured, you can get a snake bite. Many problems are associated with that, and so that should stop.
One of the reasons is people don't have their specific time for defecating. That's why people end up, you are moving on the way, at the same time you want to defecate. But if you train yourself to defecate in the morning, that every morning before you leave your house you defecate, I tell you, you will stay for the whole day, you come back, and you will train your brain. Already your brain will be triggered that every morning you have to defecate.
So now, when we talk about open defecation-free environments, is that state where fingers do not get in contact with feces, and that calls for behavior change, where people should stop touching their feces. And then, if they have done that, they ought to wash their hands thoroughly.
The other districts targeted in this project include Yumbe, Koboko, Maracha, among others.
The program actually wanted districts that would show results basing on the conditions that are available.
Once open defecation-free environment is achieved, chunks of money lost in treatment shall be reduced or no more for communicable diseases like cholera, diarrhea, typhoid, and dysentery. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in West Nile region.
Thank you so much, Ivan, for the very beautiful piece. If I were in that village, I would be on the lookout for culprits, because I was imagining if I managed to find 5, that is 50,000 shillings in a day. Thank you so much, Ivan Kahwa. The number of people with diabetes in Uganda is on the rise, and over 50% of the people with the condition do not know they are with it. Medical professionals say that the healthcare system can't cope with the increasing numbers, as hospitals are overburdened with the infectious disease, maternal and child health problems, among others. The healthcare system seems unprepared to handle diabetes prevention and management.
Millions of people around the world live with diabetes or know someone living with diabetes. Regardless the type of diabetes, diabetes is not yet a curable disease. However, it is a treatable disease, and people suffering from diabetes can live long, healthy and happy lives. Edith Kantwari suffers type 1 diabetes. For over 13 years, she did not know how to deal with it.
It was very confusing for everyone, myself, my parents, my teachers, everyone. And half the time, unfortunately, because everyone didn't know what to do with me, I was left to deal with it on my own. And luckily, I've met people in my life who have helped turn the tide around. And because I've been lucky enough to have those people in my life, I realized I have to be that person for someone else, for other people like myself.
It implies, therefore, that if the general public started medical checkups early and diagnosed with diabetes, they can start treatment.
Go for your annual checkup. You don't want to have diabetes for 5 years, 10 years, and you don't know. It's damaging you on the inside. And once you're diagnosed, it is not a death sentence. You will live, you will survive, you can work, you can do everything you've ever wanted to do. You can have your dreams, you know? So it's not exactly like a death sentence that you feel like it's over for me.
Diabetes is an expensive lifelong disease, and patients often have to pay for tests and drugs out of pocket. But what is diabetes?
It's a disease where a person's body has a higher than normal amount of sugar. So you have a lot of sugar in the blood beyond what is expected of normal.
There are also different types of diabetes.
Insulin is produced by a certain organ in our body called the pancreas. In type 1, it fails to produce the insulin in the children due to unknown reasons. We don't know why it fails, so it just fails and they don't have any insulin. So they get what we call type 1 diabetes. It's the type of diabetes that we see in children. Now, in type 2 diabetes, that's a different thing. It's mostly lifestyle. Because of the way we eat, because of the way we drink, because of the way we do physical activity. So this type of diabetes usually occurs as people grow into the middle age and older.
Dr. Roy gives some of the ways diabetes can be managed.
You have to constantly control the blood sugar. So we give medications that bring down the blood sugar. If a person's illness is moderate, we give the medications in form of tablets. But if they are very, very ill, we might need to start with injections of a drug called insulin so that we bring down the blood sugar much faster. Now, in addition to that, to control the sugar, we have to use nutrition. We have to pay attention to the diet and also attention to the levels of physical activity and then self-care.
Diabetes patients need a balanced diet containing all food values. Carbohydrates should take only 1/3 of the plate, proteins less a third of a plate, third of the plate vegetables, fruits, and then little oil.
The people with diabetes should avoid sugary things. They should avoid very sweetened drinks like soda or very sweet fruit juice. So they should reduce the sugar. Even in the tea that they drink, they should put in very little to no amounts of sugar. And the reason being that although we get sugar from foods like carbohydrates, the sugar we get from a direct addition of sugar to drink is concentrated. And immediately it goes into the body, the blood sugar shoots high.
Physical activity is also key in the therapy. And the World Health Organization recommends that a person with diabetes requires 150 minutes of moderate physical activity over a week, close to 30 minutes a day, or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise a week, close to 15 minutes a day. Health workers observe that diabetes is one disease that someone can have for a long time without showing signs. But for people with late stage of diabetes, these are the signs and symptoms, as the doctor explains.
They eat a lot and they urinate a lot. So the sugar affects the kidneys and you urinate a lot. So When a person comes with those classical symptoms, we know this one very likely has diabetes and they have reported late. On the other hand, those with prediabetes will not have symptoms.
A glucometer is used to determine the approximate concentration of glucose in the blood, but medics say it is not 100%, and it costs around 150 to 250,000 shillings on the market. But the good news is there is a new testing measure in place, as the doctor explains.
The advantage of the new tests like hemoglobin A1C is that they are not dependent on the level of blood sugar. They measure other things that can tell you a person's blood sugar over 3 months, the average blood sugar over 3 months. So those are other tests that we can do.
For proper management of diabetes, one needs insulin, a hormone that allows glucose in the blood to enter cells, providing them energy to function. And lack of effective insulin plays a key role in the development of diabetes. Health practitioners say that diabetes patients should become an expert in their treatment.
They should learn how to inject themselves. If they are on drugs, they should learn how to give themselves the drugs, to take the right doses. They should learn to check their blood sugar on their own, even to check their blood pressure. These days we have blood pressure machines that are computerized. You put it on yourself, you press some buttons and it measures. So they should do all those things themselves. They should check their weight and their body mass index and see that they are improving.
In 2014, the national survey conducted showed that 1 in every 100 people in the country had diabetes. But recent estimates by Ministry of Health show that the national prevalence rate is at 3%. The country has higher prevalence in Iganga and Mayuge, estimated to be about 7%. Yet the national prevalence rate is at 3%. Zahara Bigaba, Health Radar.
Thank you, Zahara Bigaba. And with the Health Radar, we take a very short break. On return, we'll have business. Please keep around.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Brought you. Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
In business news tonight, the High Court Land Division in Kampala has directed their applicants and respondents in the case involving tenants of Qualicel Terminal, Nabukera and Jambori commercial buildings and the multiple landlords to hand in written submissions. The traders with their lawyer, Elias Lukwago, appeared before Justice Alexandria Nkonge, who concluded that court will decide on the cease after receiving written submissions from both parties.
Dilemma still surrounds tenants of 3 commercial buildings of Qualicel, Nabukera and Jombre. The alleged owners of the property, Drake Lubega and Mansur Matovu plus Horizon Coaches, all demand rent from the tenants. The traders, represented by their lawyer Elias Lukwago, have appeared before Justice Alexandria Nkonge from the Land Division of the High Court, seeking redress.
Court directed that we file written submissions. On our side, we should file by 23rd. The respondents should file by 30th. And then we file a rejoinder by 3rd. And thereafter, the ruling will be given on notice. Yes, we appreciate the element of time constraint on the part of court. Though we would have loved to have this matter resolved earlier, we have no choice in the matter because those are the timelines given by court. So we'll have to bear with the court, we'll have to wait. The traders will be patient.
But the tenants pray that court creates an independent account where they can deposit rental fees.
The tenants are being oppressed. The tenants are being harassed by these multiple landlords. They are harassing them, each of them demanding for rent. Each of them coming up to lock up the premises. Because today, when they pay rent to Horizon Coaches, Drake comes up and seals off the premises. Comes and locks up their shops. It is the same with Mansuri Young and others. So the traders are tired of that confusion. They are tired of that ping pong. So what they want to do is to see that court intervenes, makes a decision on where rent should be deposited and how the properties should be managed until the parent suit between the multiple landlords is disposed of.
The case for the claimants of the 3 buildings will be heard in November 28th this year. Meanwhile, the Uganda Bus Operators Association Limited is also claiming ownership of Coastal Terminal and has issued a rent demand note dated 15th April to the traders. The chairperson Uboa, Hamim Sentongo, claims he holds the title for the building.
Ekyamukisa mulungi tuzze wano mu kooti naffe twafayirizeeyo musango gwaffe nga wonna biva ku bwannannyini buvaawa. Kakati waliwo Horizon Coach 8 naye okuva lwe bantongoza nga ssentebe nga n'omugenzi Muhanji tanaakufa. Bw'olaba Uganda Gazette yafuluma 22nd December 2017 nga n'omugenzi waali n'olwekyo bino byonna n'obwannannyini bwe bwakola kusinga ne busiganga ubbo waffe tusitandiize.
So far, there are over 500 tenants operating in 3 contested buildings of Korsel, Nabukera Plaza and Jombri. Adiana Kute, UBC.
The International Criminal Police Organization, that is Interpol, has sanctioned the East African countries to carry out an operation on business communities dealing in counterfeit substandard goods.
CACITA are joining forces in the fight against counterfeit products on the market. On the 9th April this year, the Uganda police launched the fight against counterfeit products and substandard goods on the market with support following a directive from Interpol. The parties in this struggle are proud to report registered success and recoveries have been made.
When we are complete all through with our investigation and the testing, we shall make the arrests. But as per now, no arrest yet. But we are here basically to enforce the law, to see that people do not consume substandard goods, to see that government gets the revenue it deserves.
Last year, UNBS declared 54% worth of counterfeit products and substandard goods on the market.
And the problem starts with the certificates of conformity, which many of you know as the exercise of PIVOC. Many of the businessmen are not going through mandatory inspection. Those especially who are importing, we have come to find. They come, bring in products. Some of you are bribing your way. Some of you are dealing with the companies that were selected by UNBS, that is SGS, Intertech, and Bureau Veritas. And you find your way that you bring the goods without even going for inspection, or sometimes even the goods, there is no pre-shipment inspection.
Meanwhile, more enforcement is yet to be done in the struggle, and the business communities have been urged not to politicize the operation or anyway think they are above the law.
And even politicians at times are sought to come and protect. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are MP, if you're honorable minister, if you have the president, you are the fountain of honor. Please support that Ugandans get value for money.
Anyone implicated during this intelligence-led operation will be treated as a terrorist and prosecuted, especially the investors. Sandra Kahunde-Agaba, UBC News.
State Minister for Cooperatives, Gume Frederick Ngobi, has advised teachers of Walimu Sacco to promote dynamic investments for the institution. He urged the team to ease the process of acquiring loans for the teachers. Gume was speaking during a meeting for a strategic plan for the Sacco, while the executive officer, Walimu Sacco Union, Navende Stephen, said that they are planning to start up a teachers' bank.
And some of the teachers also borrow money from multiple money lenders. By the time he looks around, the motorcycle has parked, and for 4 months he has not given in the he has not paid the interest. So what is the purpose? He runs out of the classroom, and therefore there will be a disintegration in the lectures. The students will be amazed, the lectures will not take place, and the teacher also will be inconvenienced. So the government, through the president, in his sophisticated thinking, gave them a grant of 25 billion. This money is being extended to the teachers at a low interest rate. But we're telling them that while the president gave them money, they must also now strategically plan and think. This is what they are doing.
In these other banks where we have been saving, each month they charge ledger fees to a tune of about 2,000 shillings. Now, when you compute that amongst the 150,000 teachers we have, it means that per month we part away with 3 billion shillings, just a giveaway. Yet, if these teachers were in our own bank, that would be part of our income.
We'll wind up business news with a look at the money exchange rates here.
Brought to you by Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
International news tonight. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris caught fire on Monday evening. Videos shot and uploaded online by social media users showed a thick smoke rising from the iconic cathedral between bell towers. The Paris Fire Department confirmed the incident, adding that firefighters were on site trying to put out the fire. The medieval cathedral is one of the main attractions of the French capital. Millions of tourists visit it every year. Renovation works have been underway on the cathedral's roof, and it was not immediately clear what really caused the fire. In more news now in the sports world, the national under-17 football team, that's the Cubs, have vowed to return in their second AFCON under-17 game this Wednesday with vigor at the Dar es Salaam National Stadium. The Cubs lost 1-0 to Angola in their opening game despite numerous attempts. Head coach Samuel Kwesi says that different changes will be put up to boost the squad that faces Tanzania. Tanzania lost the opening game against Nigeria on Sunday. Uganda is in the same group with Nigeria, Tanzania, and Angola.
And it's a win. And any team that loses is completely out of the equation. And therefore, I believe that both teams are going to approach this game with all the seriousness it deserves. But we have done our homework well, and we believe that all things being equal, let me repeat that again, all things being equal, we get the 3 maximum points. But like the question that he put, definitely this is a game, if you lose, then you are out of contention. And therefore, we are going to approach it with all the seriousness it deserves. And we'll give it our best shot and see what happens. The support will be the 12th person on the field for Tanzania. But as you can see in the world of football, support doesn't win matches. It's your ability on the field that wins matches. So we are prepared. This team have played them before. I was not in charge at that time, but I believe they played them and they were.
We wish them all the best. In every sporting discipline in Uganda, nurturing the young is at the core of the calendar. Uganda Golf Union has organized the Young Golfers Holiday Camp due in a week's time at the Chitante Golf Course. Young golfers will be divided according to age and assigned different coaches for training. The youngsters will also undergo practice of games before competing among themselves. Uganda Lady Golf Captain Eva Magala, one of the trainers, is spearheading the campaign. Next is to roll out the campaign to Entebbe and Jinja Golf Clubs respectively. Different neighboring countries have also been advised to enroll the young ones into this program. With that, we come to the end of news tonight. Having had the good news of the reception of 2 Bombardier planes, we thank you so much for watching, and let's have a look at the headlines as we start. In what we had for you, government and NGOs have been cautioned on refugee fund. Egypt and Uganda have signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen cooperation in military efforts. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris caught fire, while the Cubs are to come back strongly against Tanzania in their AFCON Under-17 game tomorrow. Immediately after this bulletin, we'll give you the whole event where Ugandan officials received the 2 Bombardier aircraft that are arriving any time from now to Uganda for the revival of the Uganda Airlines. It's beautiful news. Please keep watching and do not miss any bit. My name is Michael Jordan Lukuma with Mugalu Muhammad here on the sign language part and the rest of the team. We wish you the best of the night. Bye-bye.
Was brought to you by UCC, celebrating